Hello everybody, Dragonfire here. Thanks for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. I have a new headset today and hopefully that means that the sound is coming through loud and clear. Alright, let's get started with today's video. I'm returning to my all-time NBA team list. That's my all-time NBA teams list with another video in that series. Okay, so if you missed my first four videos, they are on a playlist of all-time NBA teams, but I've done a brand new printout that I will be using going forward. So, real quickly, um, here's what the new printouts look like. So, yeah, you can see there. There's my team for the Atlanta Hawks in the first video I did, and here's my Boston Celtics for the second video that I did. Like I said, these are brand new, so I just want to show them off a little bit, even though I previously did these videos. So Atlanta Hawks and Boston Celtics were the first two teams, and then I did the Brooklyn Nets and Charlotte Hornets. Okay, so now today's video is for Chicago Bulls fans. Okay, all right. Um, I just want to address that I know that in the NBA online community, there is this, quite frankly, I think very toxic debate going on between LeBron fans and Jordan fans over who the GOAT is. LeBron and Jordan usually centers around those two. And I don't mind the debate as much as I mind how toxic it's gotten, of just like all these insults of Jordan fans saying LeBron sucks and LeBron fans saying Jordan sucks and all this kind of stuff. I think we can acknowledge that they were both great players, or in LeBron case, he's still going. Uh, and he's had the LeBron is officially now in his 23rd season, making the most seasons of any player in NBA history. So congratulations to LeBron on that. But like I said, I'm not going to get into the toxic debate over that. I'm not going to say right now who I think the GOAT is, but I think there are more candidates than just LeBron and Jordan. I think there are some other candidates to consider as well. But no doubt they're both great players. Okay, today we're talking about the Chicago Bulls, and LeBron James never played for the Chicago Bulls, but Michael Jordan did. Okay, um, so without any further ado, let's get into the all-time Chicago Bulls team. Now, the Bulls have been around since the mid 60s. I believe they started in 66. And of course, their most successful period of time was in the 90s, where they won 6 championships in 8 years. And I will be taking team success into the equation. I want to hit the times when a particular franchise was actually good. So in the case of this franchise, there was one time where they were winning a whole bunch of championships in their history. So that's going to be heavily factored into the equation. But first, starting off with my point guard, I've got Derrick Rose. Now, Derrick Rose won an MVP. I believe he set the record for youngest MVP in NBA history. His prime was short-lived due to injuries. It really brought him down, or else he could have been the next great player in NBA history. But unfortunately, he's going to go down as a one-time MVP who never quite lived up to his full potential, never quite became the superstar that everyone thought he was going to be. If he was a superstar, it was only for 1 or 2 or 3 seasons, whatever. Like he had a short prime of that, but he still won an MVP as a member of the Chicago Bulls. So I went ahead and decided to give Derrick Rose the point guard on the starting lineup for my all-time Chicago Bulls team. At shooting guard, there really is no other choice. It's Michael Jordan. He is my pick for the greatest Chicago Bull of all time. I know I mentioned the LeBron Jordan debate that's been going on lately. A lot of people have been trying to elevate Scottie Pippen. Now, Scottie Pippen is my pick for the small forward. So we've got our shooting guard and our small forward here. Um, I think that some LeBron fans think that by tearing or by building up Scottie Pippen, tearing down Michael Jordan, that those two things go hand in hand. If they can make Scottie Pippen look better, then Michael Jordan looks worse because they were on the team together. So kind of the narrative is that LeBron did it alone, while Jordan always had to have Pippen to help him. And some people have even started to say maybe Pippen was better than Jordan. Um, but if you look at a lot of the things, okay, Jordan was a five-time regular season MVP and a six-time Finals MVP and won Defensive Player of the Year. Pippen never won any Finals MVPs or regular season MVPs or Defensive Player of the Year awards. Jordan led the league in scoring 10 times. He also, I believe, led the league in steals three times, both things that Pippen never did. Um, so there's different narratives that have popped up over the years. Yes, Jordan did have to wait till kind of the Bulls got built up as a team before they started winning championships. They didn't win championships right away when the entire team around Jordan was not as good. Um, but anyway, at the end of the day, you can believe what you want to do about the Jordan versus Pippen debate, but in my mind, there's no comparison. Everyone at the time recognized that Jordan was the better player and Pippen was good. He was a great player in his own right, but Michael Jordan is the best player in the history of the Chicago Bulls. Okay, I've put Dennis Rodman at my power forward spot. His rebounding ability and his defensive play and his psychological warfare, getting into the mind of competitors, is what elevated him to the starting lineup for me. And his chemistry with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, especially if you have Phil Jackson as the head coach of the all-time Bulls team, um, it I think makes a huge difference. And so yeah, I think for managing Rodman, who could be a very tough person to manage, it's why I wouldn't necessarily put, Rodman on the all-time Spurs team, even though he played a couple years for the Spurs, because that version of Rodman under that program, that organization, they were not able to handle him. I think he also played 1 year with the Lakers and 1 year with the Mavericks, but it did not go very well. Um, but I definitely have him on my all-time Chicago Bulls team. Couple episodes from now, I'll be doing my all-time Detroit Pistons team, and Dennis Rodman was an excellent player for the Pistons, so he will be somewhere on that all-time list. Helped them to two championships, but that's getting ahead of myself with the Pistons. But I think it's totally justified to have Dennis Rodman as your power forward for your all-time Bulls team. And then reaching back to some of the later decades to go for a dominant center who played very well in a Chicago Bulls uniform. And I'm talking about Artis Gilmore as my center. Okay, now um, for my bench, I got um, I got Chet Walker, um, a great player during a time when the Bulls weren't winning championships, but he was still a great individual player and helped the Chicago Bulls during those years a lot. You got Horace Grant. He was a member of the first three um, Chicago Bulls teams, and he was definitely right there in contention for my power forward starting spot. It was really a toss up between him and Dennis Rodman. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. Um, but if Dennis Rodman gets too out of control, or when Dennis Rodman gets technicals and thrown out of games, or gets suspended, or something like that on this all time team, when his stuff gets out of control, Horace Grant can step up and fill that power forward spot. Uh, I also put Liu Dang and Joakim Noah on my bench. Joakim Noah, former DPOY, so Defensive Player of the Year. I've got Jimmy Butler. Going back to some older players, I got Bob Love and Jerry Sloan. And Jerry Sloan, of course, would later become head coach for the Utah Jazz in the 90s, but like in the back in his playing days in like the 70s and stuff, he was a pretty solid player for the Chicago Bulls. And also, um, got to recognize some of the players who contributed to those six championship teams. Jordan and Pippen didn't do it all by themselves. I've already mentioned Rodman and Horace Grant. And I just threw on here Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, and B.J. Armstrong as well for for the way that they contributed to those championship teams. So there you go. There is my all-time Chicago Bulls team. Um, and my rule is I have to do at least 10 players for each team. And um, along with that, I can do up to 15 players. So anywhere between 10 to 15 players for each team is what I'm doing. I don't think I have any that are just 10. I think I did at least 12 for every team. So 12 to 15 basically. But anyway, there we go. There's my all-time Chicago Bulls team. Uh, Speaking of the Jordan LeBron rivalry, my next team is the Cavs. So tune into my next episode and I will talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and talk about where LeBron uh, lands on that Cleveland Cavalier team. All right. This was my episode on the all time Chicago Bulls team. I hope you enjoyed it. Um, have a great day, everybody. Dragonfire out.